Hello everyone and welcome to our first session on ReactJS properties or props. Properties or props in ReactJS. In this session, we will focus on one of the most essential features in React, properties, commonly referred to as props. Props are a fundamental concept that allows components to communicate with each other by passing data. What are props? Props, short for properties, are read-only attributes that are passed from a parent component to a child component. They are used to pass data and event handlers to child components, making them highly reusable and dynamic. How props work? Props work similarly to HTML attributes but are more powerful because they allow us to pass dynamic data and functions. A parent component defines the props and a child component accesses them using the props object. Defining props in parent component. In this example, we have a parent component app which defines a user object. This object is passed as a prop to the user profile component. The user object contains the data we want to display in the child component. Accessing props in child component. In the user profile component, we access the user prop using destructuring. This allows us to directly use user.name and user.age to display the user's information. Default props. Default props are useful when you want to ensure that a component has default values if no props are passed. You can define default props by adding a default props property to your component. Here, user profile will display default name and age 0 if no user prop is provided. Prop types. Prop types are used to enforce the type of props a component should receive, helping to catch bugs and improve code quality. We use the prop types library to define the expected types. In this example, the user prop should be an object with a string name and a number age. Passing functions as props. Props aren't limited to just data. You can also pass functions as props. Here, we pass a handle click function from the app component to the button component. This allows the button component to trigger the handle click function when it is clicked. Using props in functional components. In the button component, we receive the onClick prop and use it as the click event handler for the button element. This demonstrates how to use props in functional components, making them highly reusable. In summary, props are essential for passing data and functions between components, making React applications modular and dynamic. We have covered how to define, access, and validate props, as well as how to pass functions as props. Let's start by setting up a new React project. Make sure you have Node.js and npm installed. Open your terminal and create a new React application using Create React App. Navigate to your project directory and open it in your code editor. Create a file named app.js. Define a user object and pass it as a prop to the user profile component. This sets up our parent component with some data to pass down. Next, create a file named userprofile.js. This is our child component, which receives the user prop and renders the user's name and age. Notice how we use destructuring to directly access the user properties. Add default props to the user profile component to ensure it displays default values if no props are provided. This makes your component more robust and prevents potential errors. Use the prop types library to enforce the type of props your component should receive. This helps catch bugs early and improves the readability of your code. Here, we specify that the user prop should be an object with a string name and a number age. Props aren't limited to data. You can also pass functions as props. In the app component, we define a handle click function and pass it to the button component as a prop. This allows the button component to execute this function when clicked. Creating the button component. Create a button.js file for the button component. This component receives the onClick prop and assigns it to the button's click event handler. This is a powerful feature that enables components to trigger actions defined in their parent components. Now that we have set up our components, let's run the application. Open your terminal, navigate to your project directory and run npm start. Open your browser and go to http://localhost:3000 to see the application in action. Try clicking the button to see the alert message. In this hands-on example, we have learned how to use props to pass data and functions between components in React. We have seen how to define, access, and validate props, as well as how to use default props. That's all for this session. Thank you.